The 2003 Los Angeles Dodgers, at first glance, are forgettable, and I bet most people don't know much about the team that year. LA started the season 44-29 and were in first place on the first day of summer. Following that start, they went 41-48 to finish the season with a pedestrian 85-77 record, finishing in second place in the National League West, 15.5 games out of first and 6 games out of the wild card. It was a disappointing season for the club as they were coming off a 92-win season the previous year, but had also missed the playoffs in 2002. Hoping to build off that solid season, the Dodgers took a step back and struggled mightily in the second half to end the year just slightly over 500. That 85-77 record is reflected by their plus 18 run differential and 83-79 Pythagorean record. All signs point to them performing as an average or so team, not bad, but not good. So, if this team was only average and downright forgettable, what makes them unique? The 2003 Dodgers somehow finished above 500 despite being one of the worst hitting teams of all time. Logically, if a team has poor hitting, they will also probably struggle. Hitting is half of the game, and when a team is inept at hitting, especially historically, their pitching and defense can only help so much. This makes sense, right? Normally, yes, but that's what makes the Dodgers in 2003 special. Historically awful hitting, yet not a bad team. Just how bad was the Dodgers hitting in 2003? They had a team adjusted OPS of 79. That is really bad. Naturally, they finished last among all 30 teams in that category, as well as practically every other hitting statistic. The league-wide average OPS that season was 755, and the average runs scored per game was 4.73. The Dodgers had an OPS over 80 points lower and scored more than a full run fewer than average on a per-game basis. LA hit the fewest home runs, drove in the fewest RBIs, scored the fewest runs, walked the fewest amount of times. You get the picture. Quick reminder that the Tigers that season, the team to lose 119 games and play at one of the most pitcher-friendliest parks in baseball, had better team hitting stats than LA. Yet, the Dodgers won double the amount of games than the Tigers did. There has never been a team that terrible at hitting to also finish so well. To see just how much of an anomaly the 2003 Dodgers are, let's compare them to other teams all time. Among all teams in the history of Major League Baseball with a minimum 140 games played in a season, the 2003 Dodgers have, coincidentally, the 79th lowest adjusted OPS for a team all time. Thousands and thousands of team seasons spanning the past 130 years or so, and the 03 Dodgers rank in the bottom 80, yet have a winning record. Every team with a lower adjusted OPS are some of the worst teams of all time with terrible records. Most have well over 100 losses. In fact, of the 78 teams with a lower adjusted OPS, only 11 have fewer than 90 losses, yet those teams were still near the bottom of the standings, but not the Dodgers. The 2003 Dodgers hold the record for lowest team adjusted OPS in a single season to finish over 500. Let's look at teams all time to have an adjusted OPS at or lower than 79 in a season. The Dodgers' 85 wins are, of course, the record for most wins, and they are the only team to have as much as 80 wins in a season. LA is just one of 2 teams ever to have an adjusted OPS at or under than 79, play in at least 140 games, and have a winning record. The only other team to fit those criteria are the 1913 Chicago White Sox, who finished the season with a 78-74-1 record, and a team adjusted OPS also at 79. Even if we lower the minimum games played to 70, or half of the original minimum, there are only an additional 4 instances of this happening. What about their 671 OPS? How does that hold up with recent history? In the wildcard era, which is 1995 to present day, only 21 teams have ever achieved a 671 or lower OPS in a season, and there is only one other team to have a winning record. That would be the 2011 Giants with 86 wins, who also had a team OPS of 671. Speaking of the Giants, looking at teams with 85 or more wins in a single season, The Dodgers' record low 79 adjusted OPS is 3 points lower than the next lowest mark set by the 2009 San Francisco Giants. In fact, there are only 8 occurrences ever of a team recording an adjusted OPS under 85 to also win at least 85 games. Teams that are historically as bad at hitting as the 03 Dodgers are flat out terrible with poor records, and yet LA bucked the trend and set the record for most wins. There are very, very few teams like them throughout MLB history, and LA that year might be the most bizarre of them all. This all ponders one question: how is this all possible? How could a team be that bad at hitting but still finish with a decent winning record? First, I believe it's important to look at the Dodgers hitters that season. 18 players had at least 70 plate appearances for the team that year. Of those 18 players, only 5 had an adjusted OPS above 100. For comparison, in all of Major League Baseball in 2003, there were 187 players to have at least 70 plate appearances and record an adjusted OPS above 100. Less than 3% of that group played for the Dodgers. LA had a single hitter with an adjusted OPS over 100 to also have at least 400 plate appearances, and that was Sean Green, who slashed .280 with a .355 on base and .460 slugging for an .814 OPS and 116 adjusted OPS. Also for comparison, there were 132 players in MLB in 2003 with at least 400 plate appearances and an adjusted OPS over 100. 132 players in LA had 1. Even the Tigers had 2. The Dodgers lineup struggled all season offensively. Notably, their middle infielders Alex Cora and Cesar Izturis combined for over 1,100 plate appearances and both recorded adjusted OPSs under 70. Other notable hitters such as Paulo Duca, Adrian Beltre, and Dave Roberts all played over 100 games to also record poor seasons offensively. There was a lot of mediocrity on the team, and the few players that were decent didn't play much. So, if the hitting was historically terrible, how did LA finish with 85 wins? As you can guess, their pitching carried them, perhaps not in the way you're thinking though. 7 pitchers started at least 10 games for LA, and 5 recorded an adjusted ERA over 100. In particular, Hideo Nomo and Kevin Brown pitched over 200 innings each and had ERAs of 3.09 and 2.39, which equates to adjusted ERAs of 131 and 169. The Dodgers had the best starting pitching ERA among all 30 teams with a 3.49 mark. However, it wasn't the starting pitching that carried the team, it was the bullpen. The Dodgers bullpen in 2003 blew away the competition and was undoubtedly the best in all of baseball. Dodgers relief pitchers combined for a 2.46 ERA, nearly 3/4 of a run better than the second best mark. The difference between the Dodgers at number 1 and the number 2 ranked team is roughly the same as the second ranked team with the 11th ranked team. The bullpen was led by this guy, Eric Gagne. If you don't know Gagne, he had one of the greatest peaks for a reliever in MLB history, and 2003 was in the middle of it. That season, he threw 82 1/3 innings with a 1.20 ERA, 337 adjusted ERA, 0.692 WHIP, and a 15 strikeouts per 9 rate. Gagne also blew a grand total of 0 saves. You see, Gagne set the MLB record for consecutive saves recorded as he recorded 84 straight without blowing one from August 2002 to July 2004, with a perfect 55 for 55 in 2003. He took home the NL Cy Young that season, to this day, the most recent occurrence of a reliever winning the Cy Young. As epic as Gagne was, 2 other relievers also recorded ERAs under 2. Guillermo Mota threw over 100 innings in relief with a 1.97 ERA and 205 adjusted ERA, while Paul Quantrill threw 77 1/3 innings with a 1.75 ERA and 232 adjusted ERA. LA also relied heavily on Paul Shuey and Tom Martin, who both had respectable seasons themselves as well. Those 5 relievers threw at least 50 innings each for LA. No other relief pitcher had at least 20 for the team that season. It was mainly those 5 on a daily basis, and they were all wonderful. No team since the '03 Dodgers has been able to record a lower ERA, and only 6 times has a team recorded a lower one in the divisional era. The Dodgers might not have scored many runs in 2003, but they didn't need many. If they had any sort of lead, more than likely, they won. In fact, the Dodgers that year had a grand total of 8 blown saves. Unsurprisingly, that mark was the lowest in baseball that year. 8 blown saves in a season is so low, it's the best mark among all teams in the wildcard era, and only twice since 2003 has a team even tied that record. The 2003 Dodgers will forever be an anomaly. A team that posted historically terrible hitting, but had such a great bullpen and amazing pitching rotation, it actually turned them into a decent team. A team we may never see again.